God, please let this be better than yesterday. Okay, I've got a solid green this time, unlike last time. Last time, it kept shifting between green and yellow, and I don't know why it was doing that. Hey there, everybody, it's Mayroon, here for another episode of March of Madness with goddamn Higurashi, and we're gonna pick up where we left off in the middle of a chapter. Because, goddamn, God forbid, things want to work properly, yeah? I'm gonna make sure I have things up that I can read. To check to make sure that it's actually sending things properly. Yeah. Alright. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. By the way, the mayor's missing. We don't know why. Everyone's panicked and confused. It was already late, and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. He was demoned away. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched for the irrigation channels to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could have searched in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, and have the young men of town help search. If after all they didn't find him, they were apparently going to go looking in the mountains. Even now at that moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, the more time passed. The only thing that came to mind was the curse. The rumors of the Watanagashi-hen as the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Otoshiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? That scary possibility, which everybody thought about, but nobody could say aloud, was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Otoshiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew. The curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been higher priority than him. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot inside the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomotake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been mine and Shion's turn next. This time should have been Shion, me, eh? I laughed pitifully to myself. I'd yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Watanagashi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person has ever been found. They'd always suspected Onikafuchi, but not once have they turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom. Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san, he left around this time last year, didn't he? Huh? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. He was right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly. Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-san, too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah. I heard he withdrew all his savings and ran away from home. Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train to Nagoya Station. Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Yeah, you know, burp. I had ravioli. I'm gonna burp. I'm gonna go heck. Hopefully I don't go heck. Hecking hurts. Well, I didn't heck, but ow, it still hurt. I'm adjusting things because it occurs to me my microphone isn't as close as it usually is because it's not sitting on my lap. Well, not the microphone, my computer. And to make sure things don't just pop out while I'm trying to adjust. I really should have adjusted before I started streaming, but I didn't, like a dumb. I'm not the sharpest tool in this. Sorry, this is a very serious conversation, and I'm messing it up with Smash Mouth. Because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shirt. Also, I'm guessing it was either my internet or YouTube last night that caused the thing to not work properly yesterday. Sip from my owl cup. Then we go on from there. Okay. I wasn't interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared in thin air for no reason, but they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took to life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance is the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything.
It looks like I missed the seasoning today. Sorry.
Normally, Rena would have devoured her lunch immediately, but today there's still a ton left. It wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though. That isn't the case. Your lunch today is as delicious as always. Sadako dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls bits of food out one after the other. Return.
Yes, delicious indeed. Today in particular, in fact. Chomp chomp. Namu namu. Huh? You know those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay?
Yes! If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious. Did Sadako just like pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Sadako kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was. Gotta adjust my headphones. They're trying to fall off my head. The headphones, stop. If it's that good, then I guess I'll have to try some too. Sadako's gonna eat it all if we let her. It's just so good. I would certainly like it if Keiichi-san would eat some as well. Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right? Okay, don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for the both of us today. Wow! She really, really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Sadako's own brand of generosity. Grabbed her head and started stroking it. Sadako had some exaggerated passion and was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way. You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Rena, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew, but it tastes good after it's having sat overnight.
Yeah. The daikon radish had such pretty color going through it. It looks delicious. I guess I'll have to have some.
Rena reached out with her chopsticks, and at last the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. It was only our desks, however. The dark tales of Otoshiro-sama's curse, which had reoccurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in a somber mood. Otoshiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. It was Otoshiro-sama's curse anyways. They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why are the curses stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying hard to brighten the mood. I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving Otoshiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target. Mion's taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash your hands? Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and hadn't come back yet.
She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mayor after all.
Smiled wryly and let her reply. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no-good day. I'd just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
When Mi-chan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter. She told me that often.
I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappeared at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Sadako, as if she had come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward.
Oh, Rika-chan's taking a while too. Maybe they're having a nice afternoon nap together.
Rika wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying good night, good night. Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival, too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that? Is there a reason the old people treat Rika-chan like an idol? Is she their idyllic image of a granddaughter or something?
I don't think anything like about that, but, I want to see Rika-chan yawning. It's probably all like, oh, I want to take her home.
I don't personally think it's that cute. It's more like, and her mouth opens really wide so you can see the back of her throat.
Her throat, the thing in her throat, oh, lovely. Oh.
Ren is handy at times like these. Finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden's right outside the teacher's lounge, too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it right.
I think Sadako-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan, Yuna. Can't breathe. I got a glimpse. It was so cute.
Sadako-chan is cute, too.
I'm gonna take you home.
Rena was squeezing her hands around Sadako's neck and was trying to get a look into her throat. You know, Rena, I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious beep, isn't she? Hearing Sadako make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted in laughter, too. And Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building was originally an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But, well, the flower bed it was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big you would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also, thankfully, on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade, though, and a full size smaller than Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who could struggle just to lift the full watering can to help me with this. For this, if one was placed on day duty with someone you liked, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake. No point in blaming her. I give up. I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me. Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Water that too, would you? Oh, you mean the curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes and carrots and the other things that are only ingredients for curry? It's definitely the person garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom. I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Sadako were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring, while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we'd need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Sadako's whirling elbow and Rena's backward flying spin kick made it for a pleasant sight. That just sounds dangerous. Even if, as a result, they flipped over my desk. Ah, that's my pencil box! I'll just let it happen today. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner than I thought that I remembered I needed to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden, too. Such a pain. But I have a feeling it'll come to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled up the water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This is the place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pill bugs being around. So when I ran across her in a place like this, I was surprised. Whoa! Oh, it's Rika-chan. Don't scare me like that. Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet, devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance. Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of glass stuck in her hair, too, and her clothes looked as though she had fallen to the ground. Rika-chan, are you hurt? Did you fall? Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof and fell off or anything, did you?
Don't worry about me. I have something I want to ask you, Keiichi.
Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run away from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered. What do you want from me? She looked straight in my eyes. Her upturned eyes, boring right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from her.
Keiichi, did you do something bad on the night of the festival?
My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up from my feet, and after going up to my back and freezing my entire body, made its way into my brain.
Keiichi, do you really not remember?
My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oshi-san asked me. Shion asked me, and now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night. But in fact, everyone knew. They all knew, and they came to ask me, again and again, until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear that the whole thing was out in the open. After all, didn't Tomotage-san and Takano-san's deaths prove it?
Keiichi?
How should I respond? We never should have been in that forbidden storehouse, and even though I regretted it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I'd all but decided what I was going to say. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know. I've done lots of bad things, so I don't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika-chan stared up at me with the innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. For a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me.
I'm sorry for asking you something strange. Please forget about it,
she said, smiling, her usual smile. Then, tap, 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 she went off running, as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Rika-chan! She didn't hear my voice, and I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them could just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did. Hey, Rika-chan.
What is it?
If everyone knew anyway. I should be able to ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? That evening, had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it. I only looked away anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything. Really. Still, Tomotage-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had come to such an end, it's obvious no way it would forgive me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit what happened that night, though she would suddenly do a 180, as if flipping a switch, that would make sense. Rika-chan was the sparring maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Oshi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say something. Say, Keiichi Marabara, if you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate, given the crazy way Tomotage-san and Takano-san died. A pulping machine called Chaos is grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it, turned into big droplets of sweat, and began to fall.
Keiichi.
Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head.
I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi.
I had nothing to say to that. Lowered my head a little so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat.
Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores the implements we use for rituals.
My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though I wasn't acting in a covert way at all.
Apparently, on the night of a festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse.
A cat?
Yes, a cat. Meow, meow.
Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so that she wouldn't scare me.
The cat always wanted to explore inside the storehouse, but I was mean to it and never let it go inside. So on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside.
The cat?
clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or wait, was it supposed to be me? Inside, there are actually lots of things that scared the cat. Rika-chan made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me. The cat was both terrified and amazed. It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible.
This cat, who are you saying it was?
The cat is the cat. Meow, meow.
Rika-chan still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was still, without a doubt, me. Rika-chan, please tell me. The cat, what should it do now? Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. I had sort of admitted to being the cat.
The cat is just a cat, so it can just keep meowing and everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine. That's stupid.
Shouldn't it just keep meowing?
Geez, Rika-chan and I have put together an entire conversation using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent, but now that's enough. I can't just keep meowing. The dog saw the cat, making mischief and sneaking her inside.
The dog.
That's right. It was the dog. It keeps coming to the cat and trying to get it to say that it snuck inside. After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I had already noticed her eyes darkening. Rika-chan. Silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika-chan grinned.
It's all right. I'll protect the cat.
Huh? I thought for a moment that I had misheard those words, so dependable they were.
The cat is really scared, but it really isn't all that bad. I think all the dogs are just misunderstanding.
It's not all that bad.
The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure.
Rika-chan will do something about it? I don't even know left from right at the moment, so Rika-chan didn't look all that dependable.
It might be hard, but I'll do my best. Go for it. Yay!
She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika-chan said that the cat can just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing? Will you really be alright, Rika-chan?
If I don't do my best, then something bad could happen to the dogs, too.
I have no idea what Rika-chan's talking about anymore. She's been talking to me under the assumption that I was aware of certain things. So at first I understood her. Around the middle, though, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was to not worry and to leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened once again and patted me on the head and smiled. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry. I'm sorry. The cat, it really just a little bit of a mischief. I didn't think any of this would.
It's too much of a scaredy cat. That's why it should have never seen the storehouse.
She was right. It's far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. That's why they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it? Rika-chan, what will happen to the cat? Two of the cats that snuck in, well, that night I heard Tomotake-san and Takano-san's death were kept a secret. Rika-chan might not have known about it.
Tomotake and Takano.
I gave a start at the sudden mention of the actual names. Though it was weird to do that at this point.
You should forget about them.
My spine froze again. Forget?
Yes. It won't do any good to remember those two, Keiichi. The more you think about it, the scarier it will get. So you should forget about them as soon as possible.
Said something so enormously terrifying, without letting the smile on her face waver at all.
I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget about everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrubbed bathtub.
Forget? Rika-chan, you know, don't you? You know how those two died?
No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Keiichi.
Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me, so forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable, and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. Don't get involved with these deaths. I'll help you, Keiichi. Those two contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me. What about Shion? What'll happen to her? It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. Rika-chan saw through everything anyways. There's no way I was going to fool her and keep her from her at this point.
The younger of the sister cats. Meow meow.
Yeah, the little sister cat. Rika-chan appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence.
The big sister cat is angry. Little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad.
The big sister cat. That can only mean Mion. I recall being questioned by her yesterday.
Keiichi, the big sister cat is not in a good mood at all. I think we should leave her alone for a while.
Not in a good mood. Those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual house.
Let's stop having club from now on.
Huh? Why?
I think we should leave her alone.
Rika-chan ended her sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Keiichi Manabata? Don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she might help me right now. I'll leave things to her, just as she said to. I mean, she even said that the cat should just keep meowing. I'll forget everything, like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano-san and Tomotage-san and what I did that night. Just then we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break. I guess we should go back to class.
Keiichi.
As she had noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika-chan called out to me to stop me.
If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay?
The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute-sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one. Who is the misunderstanding dog?
The dog that bit the mare. I don't know why it did that. If it was going to bite anyone, it would have been the trickster cat first.
The flow of blood in my mouth felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Rika-chan had admitted it. The sacrifices of that terrible calamity. She admitted that they were going to happen again. It would be Shion or I. I didn't know what was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear. It nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me? Or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition? I had no idea what was true.
I'm sorry. The cat is already scared, and I said something to scare it even more. I'm really sorry.
Rika-chan bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently. So when Rika-chan put her head out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking. I'm so... Rika-chan made a very sad face, but I couldn't just bring myself to put out my head to her again. Poor Rika-chan. That day, Rika-chan just said she wasn't feeling up for club activities that day, so she suggested we not bother. There's also vetoes when someone didn't. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. But then the others seemed really disappointed. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remember Rika-chan's words and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. If I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though, her behavior was the same as it always was. But it's not, and you know it, Keiichi. You know it deep in your heart.
I need water. Water. Oh, come to the rescue.
Ugh. After dinner, without the energy to watch TV, I climbed into the futon in my bed and let my head be overtaken by gloomy thoughts. I told Rika-chan anything and everything. She had seemed trustworthy at the time, but had that really been the right choice? The more I looked back on it, the less I understood what Rika-chan was saying. Not only did she know about Takano-san and Tomotage-san's deaths, but she spoke of them as if she were a concerned party. After all this time, my futon began to tremble fiercely. Had I been lured in by Rika-chan's sweet smile, and told her things I shouldn't have? I should have continued to feign ignorance. I shouldn't have shown her such a weak side of me. My emotions are a mix of regret and fear, and it colored the darkness of the night with an additional layer of terror. Suddenly a knock. I might have yelped. That's how surprised I was. Keiichi! I've been calling your name for a while. You have a phone call. It's from Sonozaki-san. It was Dad. I reached out for the cordless phone through the gap in my door. Sonozaki-san, which one? The older sister or the younger? I don't know. Ask her yourself. I took the receiver and buried myself in my futon again. Hello? Mion? Or is it Shion?
It's me, Shion. Good evening.
I practically jumped out of bed. It was Shion, who I hoped so desperately would call me back last night. Shion! Sorry about last night. I got all riled up. I heard what sounded like a deep sigh on the other end. You and me are in the same position, aren't we? I shouldn't have blamed you for everything like that. I'm sorry, so please cheer up. I called you because I'm in a better mood. If you're sorry, then I'll forgive you, so please stop apologizing. Shion's tone still sounded a little angry, but for a moment she said she'd forgive me. You're right, too. We're tied to the same fate. Making sure the other is alright is the only way to guarantee our own safety. Yeah, I agree. We absolutely need to share whatever information we have so that we don't die like Tomotage-san and Takano-san did. I forced myself to swallow a solid drop of saliva. Then let's continue where we left off. You listen without getting angry this time, right? Yeah, I'll be fine. Firstly, it seems sneaking into the ritual storehouse was more of a taboo than we thought. Takano-san and Tomotake's miserable ends, terrible enough that you could call them a warning. They were more than enough to make me believe that. The culprits killed those two, the ones responsible for sullying the storehouse, and they'll come for us next. I know you want to deny that, but please accept it. It'll be too late to believe me after you've disappeared, okay? I got it. You can never be too careful, after all. I don't want to accept it either. To think that sneaking a peek at that museum of torture devices deserves a death like that, I don't want to believe it. That's what a taboo is. For those who honor it, if one breaks the taboo, no matter how small or innocent their intentions were, they wouldn't be forgiven. Let's report anything we notice that seems strange. If we connect any of the tiny pieces that we have, then just maybe we'll find out who killed them. Maybe even the truth behind the incidents of the previous years. We could find the key that'll resolve everything. You're right. You're right about that. All I was doing was waiting in fear, but Shion had already thought that far ahead. Given how trustworthy she felt. Yeah! Also, I wasn't streaming at 4 a.m. in my time zone. I was streaming at 9:30 at night. Because that's when I get off of work. Given how trustworthy she felt, I began embarrassing over how passionate I was being. Long time no see. Then I'll start, since I suggested it. I feel like someone's been watching me lately. What? It might be in my imagination, but I'll tell you anyway. I think it's just me, but if you feel like you're being watched too, Kei-chan, then maybe it's not just my imagination. Well, don't worry. At the very least, everything's been fine for me. I think. As I spoke with Shion, I thought back on today. I had no grounds to say that everything was fine. I see. And I suppose it was my imagination. But you be careful too, Kei-chan. Be especially careful when you're by yourself in public. I'm in Okiyamiya, so I won't be alone very often. But you live in Hinamizawa. Yeah, this is why I shouldn't eat ravioli before I do anything with my voice. But yes, hello, long time no see. But you live in Hinamizawa. There'll be lots of times you'll be alone. Please be extra careful. You're right. Yeah, I'll be careful. Also, about my sister. Has she been acting strange lately? Just fucking Shion just planting googly eyes all over the walls. Your sister. Oh, Mion, right. What do you mean by acting strange? Well, yesterday she came to me and asked me where I was on the night of the Watanagashi. What? She asked me too. The day before yesterday, I think, Mion asked me. I see. I told her I wasn't there. What did you say? I did the same thing. I just dodged the question. Both of us gave a quiet sigh of relief. Ever since the night of the festival, my sister's been acting strangely. We can't be too careful, so just be aware, okay? Shion was acting strangely. Aside from her asking about the night of the Watanagashi, she didn't seem too much out of the ordinary, at least from my point of view. Her twin sister, though, was saying she was acting weird. Maybe it was such a slight change that a stranger like me wouldn't have been able to notice. Got it. I'll start being careful. I always have Rena with me on my way back from school, so I shouldn't end up alone with Mion very often. Please, be careful. If there's anything bothering you, you can tell me. Alright. Okay, is there anything else you want to tell me, Kei-chan? My turn. That's right, maybe I should report on Oshi-san asking me the same question at the library. Oh, that time when you were too slow to escape? Yeah. Oshi-san asked me pretty forcefully whether I was with Takano-san and Tomotake-san that night, and whether I'd seen you. Oshi-san seemed to have seen the four of us together. From the police point of view, it would make us the last people who had seen them. I suppose, given that, it's only natural they'd be interested in us. I evaded the question then, too, but that might have just made them more interested. There's no way I could have tricked that sly old fox Oshi-san. It's me, Oshi-san! Can't do that. My troubled countenance would only make him even more certain. I should do Toad voice for Oshi-san the next time he appears. I do a really good Toad. Hello! Hey, Shion, since they're the police, shouldn't we just tell them? I mean, considering our situation, I think having them on our side would be a good thing. Shion didn't answer right away. For a few moments all I could hear was her breathing as she thought about it. Now that I think on it, Oshi said that there was probably something shady about Mion. At least that's what he said. Yeah, he definitely did. As I explained yesterday, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of influence over Hinamizawa. Oshi is under the impression that the whole village, with the Sonozaki family at its center of it all, is responsible for the reoccurring freak deaths. The whole village is behind them, with the Sonozaki family at the center. Please, don't get angry like you did yesterday and just listen! I hammered that home before I got too upset. During the Hinamizawa Dam Wars, the priest who everyone was anticipating to lead the anti-dam movement acted as though he were unrelated, so the Sonozaki main house rose up to take charge. My sister told you about all the battles that happened, right? Yeah. All of Hinamizawa got together and fought as one. They held protests, brought it to court, and even appeared on TV. In reality, there were many things that happened that were far more extreme. Under the surface, the Sonozaki main house was doing all sorts of illegal things to oppose it. They were acting illegally? For example, they would sneak into the construction site in the middle of the night and steal equipment, or break it, or put sugar cubes in gasoline tanks of the construction vehicles. Sugar in the gasoline tanks? Why would they... You don't know? It's practically the representative guerrilla tactic. It's used by the underground organizations in France in World War II, for one. When you put sugar in it, the engine gets burned out and breaks down. That's pretty bad, though, isn't it? It was destruction of property and nothing else. When they beefed up the guard at the construction facility, the family turned to attacking important construction personnel who worked there. The government officials who were given permission for the construction, for example, received all kinds of threats. Not just from the people of the prefecture office, either. Apparently, this reached as far as the Ministry of Construction. As far as I've heard, they even kidnapped a child once.
Kidnapped?
Yes. The child of an important person in the Ministry of Construction who was in charge of Hinamizawa Dam got spirited away. Then one day, all of a sudden, he was rescued in the Takasudo Mountains, which was upstream from Hinamizawa. Apparently, there was never any criminal accusations, but people whispered that they had been a threat to stop the dam construction from happening. Besides that, there were stories about so many different threats that I couldn't possibly list them all. That's sort of bad, isn't it? Right in the middle of the whole thing, the first incident happened. That's when the dismemberment of the construction manager occurred. People whispered that the Sonozaki family had brought out the principal offender. But, of course, he fled, and they still haven't found him. Once you put it that way, the Sonozaki family definitely seems suspicious. Oshi-san even seems to think that the criminal was a race, so he wouldn't talk, which is pretty reasonable of him. It's even enough to make me think that the Sonozaki main house is doing some really shady things behind the scenes, even though I'm related to them. Are you telling me to believe that? That the Sonozaki main house, where Mion lives, has done all those bad things? You're telling me to believe it? Even if you don't, Keiichi-chan, the villagers do. Shit! I'm away from the mic! Move back to the mic! There we go. While they opposed the dam in upright and lawful ways, the Sonozaki house did the dirty works for them. Everyone believes that as they fought in the front, that they take the brunt of this criticism. So they're respected as a sort of heroes of darkness. I think I only really know one part of it. For example, the really bad stuff, like the kidnapping, I think only a handful of people even know about it, including Grandma. Nana! Nana, no! The Sonozaki family is secretive, after all. Secretive, huh? Family so unforthcoming that even Shion, who is related to them, doesn't know everything about them. The Sonozaki family, unlike Shion, her older twin, Mion, was deeply involved with everything, and that it was not a fun thought to entertain. My sister, though young, was the one who acted as the center of the illegal resistance movement. Mion was? What do you mean?
Well, our dad is a big shot Yakuza. Even when she was little, my sister managed to sabotage a bunch of young street rats, and she played all sorts of tricks on them, and just generally got in their way. Mion did that? Now she's pretty laid back, so it might be hard to imagine. They put her in charge of everything, from property damage to threats and even acts of violence. Though, since she was a kid, they could get her released pretty easily. She learned that her age could be used as a weapon. It may have been indiscreet, but I couldn't help but chuckle dryly. She may have been young, but she was certainly still Mion. Even back then, she had already known for her craftiness. It's nothing to laugh about. Please, take this seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to. She only gotten pretty angry at me. Well, her delinquency soon got her into a position of authority in the Sonozaki main house. It's not that unthinkable that Oshi suspects her of dismemberment incident and later ones too. For a few moments I was dumbstruck at the tales of Mion's past. None of them matched the image I had of her. A younger Mion, dirtying her hands with all sorts of crimes. But, Tish, except I know the entire story I know the entirety of Higurashi, so, like, nothing is a spoiler to me. A younger Mion, dirtying her hands with all sorts of crimes, giving the dam construction project hell. As the successor of the Sonozaki main family, she was always right at the center of the vortex of strange incidents occurring year after year. Was that really the Mion I know? Maybe the one I know isn't the real Mion. I couldn't figure it out. I do know the head! I know all of the heads! Every head. I couldn't bring myself to accept these images of Mion I was hearing from another person. Hey, yawning! No, it does not wear a tie. It wears a turtleneck sweater. Well, back to the main subject. I just wanted you to know that my sister is someone worth being cautious around. Please, be careful. I didn't want to understand. Mion was a fantastic friend. She would never do something to back me into a corner like that. She did ask me pretty harshly about the night of the festival, but even that, it wasn't like she said it in a mean way or anything. Alright, I'll make sure to be careful. We're sisters related by blood, but within the Sonozaki family, we're both basically a different class. I want you to recognize how distant they are from me, please. The more Shion tells me about Mion, the less I understand who Mion is. The Mion I know isn't a dangerous person. She joked around, smiled a lot, and was full of passion. Now that I'd realized I held such a view towards her, Shion was telling me to change, to be careful around the best friend ever, to doubt her. The idea was very sad and painful. Now about Oshi. If you think it's a good idea, then I think we should give him the information he needs. I think getting the police on our side will work in our favor. Nice! Hooray! My voice! That sounds like I'm half dying 3/4 of the time. You thought so too, Shion. It's just that at the moment, like I explained, the police have their eyes on the Sonozaki family already. Oshi in particular completely believes that they're the masterminds behind the serial incidents. Have I made it better? Awesome! That includes me, of course. So I don't really want much to do with Oshi. Let's see. If Oshi's-san had found out about the Sonozaki family strife-filled history, then he probably wouldn't be very happy with Shion either. At least I understood Mion's instinctive dislike of Oshi-san. It's probably out of the open at this point, but try not to give my name to him. If you agree to that, then I don't think there's a problem with you telling him anything. I got it. I won't mention your name. The police investigative ability should be quite a reliable weapon for us right now. If Oshi-san tells you anything interesting, then let me know as well. Yeah, of course. We'll share information and investigate together. Who killed Takano-san and Tomotake-san? Who was after us? Until we know, we need to defend ourselves. Anything else? Besides what Oshi told you, I mean. If anything has happened, then no matter how minor, please tell me.
Aside my discussion with Osi-san? Oh. Should I tell her that I revealed everything to Rika-chan? Rika-chan was acting like she knew something I didn't. She told me to leave it to her, but what? Ah, that's right. When I was talking to her, she mentioned Shion's name too. Was that a mistake? I feel like Shion would get angry.
Nothing else? Kei-chan?
I had to remain quiet for a little while, so Shion encouraged me to speak, unable to bear the silence. As I struggled with what to say, Shion addressed me instead. It doesn't sound like it, so can I ask you something? I just heard this myself. Is it true that old man Kimiyoshi went missing? The old man Kimiyoshi. My gut told me that was the name of the mayor. You mean the mayor? Wait, Shion, you haven't heard? I don't know anything. I just overheard my dad talking about it on the phone again. I realized I shouldn't have said that. Here in Hinamazawa, the things that happened around this time, when Oda Shiro-sama's curse would reoccur, all would be covered up. Yeah, actually last night after a meeting, he didn't come home, so all of Hinamazawa was confused. They searched all through the village, but if they found him, then I haven't heard. The police should be searching for him as well. Why didn't you tell me something that important right away? She shouted angrily at me, bringing all her emotions to bear. Sorry, I thought you already knew. I didn't want to hide it or anything. The receiver was silent. Did Shion get mad again and hang up? Shion, hello?
Kei-chan? What?
What should I do? Shion's tiny, confused voice sounded like it belonged to a different person than the one yelling a few seconds ago. What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Shion hesitated for a long while, and then she confessed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide it. It's just that, well, the conversation got turned around, and we're on the same side, right?
Ah, thanks.
I won't get mad, so tell me honestly. Shion still hesitated for a few moments. Then in a resigned voice she continued. Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. Shion seemed to think I would yell at her right after she said that, so I heard her catching her breath. Contrary to what I thought, I was a little relieved. Shion had done the same thing I had when I confessed everything to Rika-chan. So in a gentle voice as I could, as not to set her off, I responded, Old man Kimiyoshi, he's someone you feel comfortable confiding in, Shion. Yes, he would. When I was little, he was really nice to me. You'd have to buy it for me. I don't have very much money left to, buy games. I don't buy games very often. I got Higurashi when it was on sale. Shion felt the same pain as the rest of us from the wearer's disappearance. She has a different kind of strength from Mion. So as she continued, her voice turned truly sad and pained. All I did was play tricks on him, but he'd always just smile. No, it's in 2020, is that right? Well, that might be when Mike and I have our, Mike and I will have our dual our main channel up by that point then. He listened to anything I would say. He was such a kind person. Calm down, Shion. It's not like he's dead, right? Don't lose heart so easily. Shion didn't answer. Even as I said to myself, I don't think we'd ever find the missing mayor again. We probably wouldn't even figure out if he was alive or dead. Shion must be thinking the same thing. That night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Aw, that's sweet. You don't have to do that. I appreciate it, though. I haven't actually played any of the Rune Factory games. They look really cute, but I've never played them. Also, that someone saw us, and was out to get us. Did the mayor know how absurdly Takano-san and Tomotake-san died? Yes, he knew about it. I told him that they died by Otoshiro-sama's curse, that could be made a sacrifice to calm his anger. I just said it straight out. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, then told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. For my farming skills? Maybe, we'll see. Until Shion stopped sobbing, I was able to find any words for her. I couldn't imagine what kind of person the mayor was, nor what Shion's relationship with him was like. Words of comfort, however, mean so much to us when we're about to be crushed by anxiety. Today, Rika-chan taught me that too. If someone who gave me such a sense of security were to disappear, I could guess what kind of shock Shion was in. It's my fault, because I revealed everything.
Yeah, maybe. Animal Crossing, I like Animal Crossing. That's a concept I can get behind. I adore the cute and adorable villagers. I loved being mayor and helping Isabel, and I wish she could have gotten a proper vacation. Stop it, Shion. It's not your fault. No! It is my fault! I told him everything. Well, then Kimiyoshi found out about everything. So he has to have been killed. It was right after I told him, after all. He disappeared the same night that I confessed, and he told me everything was gonna be alright. He found out. It does have turnips. So he became involved. I should have never told him. All of this should have just been our fault. Only the four of us. It wasn't something I should have told to someone else. He got killed because I told him. He got killed because he knew. He got killed because I revealed it to him. Hey, stop! If they were doing that, then they would obviously have killed you before killing the mayor. The order's all wrong. You or I should have been killed first. Why the hell would someone else get killed first? No, it is an order. They must be planning to kill us last of all. Huh? What? They're not killing the first person who come to mind. They start by killing those close to them. And then after they start causing so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Turnip. I said calm down. Shion, you're in shock. You're panicking. The mayor's disappearance has nothing to do with you. It's unconnected. It's not related to Takano-san or Tomatake-san dying at all either. My words came out as a scream, as if I was shouting them at myself. No! It is connected. It just has to be. I told him, so he was killed. He got killed because he knew. I confessed it to him, so he got killed. She repeated the same thing as though she were in delirium. It'd be the pista de resistance. Despite my trying to console the crazed Shion, for some reason the shadow at my feet began to freeze. For that shadow, a cold arm reached out, so cold it seemed like it would freeze even my heart just by touching me, and grabbed my ankle. The heat generated by my body, the arm was absorbing it. It was a horrible chill, a freezing cold and numbingly frigid. It was an inviolable chill of freeze. Though I sympathized with Shion, I had been naive in thinking it was something only she had to worry about. In my head, Shion's eerie words repeated again and again. He was killed because I told him. He was killed because he found out. I confessed everything. So he was killed. Those words echoed through my head like a monotone mantra, and finally even those repetitions took on meaning. The quiet shaking that had already overtaken me turned into a violent shiver that shot up my spine. Rika-chan. Rika-chan! What? What did you say just now? Well, the truth is, I told her about it. I told Rika-chan. Today. Rika-chan, you mean Rika-chan-ma? The one from the Fuyure Shrine. Yes, Rika-chan, I felt so scared and uneasy that I did it. I told Rika-chan. What did she say? The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about that for sure. That's what Rika-chan said, and then she smiled. She smiled just like the missing mayor had when he encouraged Shion. I'm sorry, Shion. I'm worried about Rika-chan. All right. If you're that concerned, then don't worry about me. Please go find whether she's safe. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll call you again tomorrow at the same time. When I do, you'll know that I'm still all right. I got it. I'll be waiting. Okay, bye. Sorry. I'm hanging up. I put down the receiver without warning, waiting for Shion to say goodbye. The danger to Shion and myself was secondary at this point. My sixth sense was blaring alarms in my head. I don't like this feeling. It's really bad. It's definitely bad. Damn it, please be safe, Rika-chan. And we go in the next part of this chapter. Hooray! Or it might be the end of the chapter, who knows? It's been about that right amount of time for it to be at the end of a chapter. Is it? It is! I knew it! I knew the first chapter would end at about the hour mark. Scrapbook part number 8. It's incredibly belated. My birthday isn't until July. I'm not Mayora. The three families in modern times. As previously described, the three-family council today is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it is a dictatorship run by the Sonozaki family. Both the Kimiyoshi and Furure families are far from their former glory. It doesn't seem at all like they've maintained ancient traditions. Just 2 months? No, my birthday's in July, not January.
It's July 31st, not January 31st. So the Sonozaki family, it's easier to say happy early birthday than happy belated, because belated's past a year. Past the year mark. It's nice. Only the Sonozaki families retain their glory from past as it inherited many colorful traditions from the age known as Onigofuchi village. Even the most recent verifiable example of the Watanagashi that occurred at the end of the Meiji era seems to have done under the orders of the Sonozaki family. Ah, that would make sense. Refer to the three-family genealogical tree from the late Meiji. After the start of the Meiji era, the Sonozaki family wanted to push the development of Hinamizawa village, so they took a strong role in leadership. During the dam wars a few years ago, the Kimiyoshi family served as the chair of the opposition alliance, but that was in name only. In actuality, the Sonozaki family reigned as leader behind the scenes. People whispered that perhaps the Kimiyoshi family dictated the actions of oppression that could be publicized, and the Sonozaki family enacted those which could not. Even in Hinamizawa, they whispered that the multitude of unsettling incidences reported during the dam project, such as kidnapping of the famous head of the Ministries of Construction's son, had been carried out by the Sonozakis. Additionally, they say that perhaps the Sonozaki family's secret maneuvering was responsible for the serial freak death incidents that have been continuously occurring in recent years as well. The serial freak death incidents are, without a doubt, the second coming of the traditional Watanagashi. They must be enacting the Watanagashi on the day of the original Watanagashi, which has fallen to the level of an ordinary village festival, in order to remind the villagers of the holy laws of Onigofuchi village. It's safe to assert that exploring the Sonozaki family is the fastest route of researching it today. If I could expose the contents of the Furei Shrine storehouse, I'd like to narrow my research target to the Sonozaki family next. The Sonozaki house is strictly guarded by the security cameras on their premise. But thankfully, I've become acquainted with the sister Mion, the next heir, and Shion. I want this to be a breakthrough that I could connect my next line of research. Takano, you messed up, and it's a good thing you did. You did! No, don't worry about it. You see, when you order the Odin here, for some reason it ends up on the annual invoice of our gas contracts. So don't be shy and have another drink. The man, red-faced, waved his hand to say that he had had enough and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in front of the station. Kuma-chan, you should be taking notes. The most modest people are the ones who live the longest. Is all that true? Well, I don't know about that. Whether or not it's true, I think the meaning in hearing something that sounds so plausible. Would something like that be motive to go for the mayor? Kuma-chan, here's what I always say. The motive only has to be enough for the person in question. You need to think about how different people value different things. Hey bartender, give me another mug! Though we had been suppressing the information, Tomatake and Takano's deaths were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All the rumors pointed to them having incurred the wrath of Otoshiro-sama for setting foot inside the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse of the ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were two other people who went in there with them, Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maebara. People were whispering in the shadows that those two would be cursed by Otoshiro-sama as well. Apparently, however, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the four trespassers' shoulders. Until last year, it was locked up tight, but this year it had been changed to a simpler lock. Hadn't that been allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were the rumors going around. Have you even seen it, Kuma-chan? I remember well. I had to go there for something quite a while back. Sorry, I don't really remember. It was locked up so tight it was scary. There were like really heavy bars holding it shut. It was sealed up, as good as a blank vault. This year was very simple and cheap padlock. The lone girl protecting the shrine, Rika Furure, disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock. So then the mayor and Rika Furure share the crime. So then after the mayor, wouldn't it be Rika Furure in danger next? There's a decent possibility. Yes! I love that post on Tumblr. It's a good one. It's a decent possibility, Kuma-chan. I want you to contact all the cars we have in Hinamizawa. Tell them to stick near the Furure Shrine. Got it! Oshi knows. Yay, Oshi! We can trust you, man, I guess, yeah? On the next chapter. After hanging up on Shion, I searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school contact list. There it is! My fingers trembled with urgency, and I failed multiple times to put the simple 5-digit number. Keiichi, are you calling someone at this hour? It's late, and it's getting to be rude to the other person. That doesn't matter right now, I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up, come on, pick up. I wanna start the pie business, but I might not do it. Shrug. This time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. It's essentially the middle of the night. Had Rika-chan already gone to bed? Her phone would be ringing constantly, though, so would she get back up for me? Rika-chan didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up! Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far from the phone. The sound of a phone ringing gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. Then, the bathroom? Yeah, she must be taking a bath. If that was the case, then even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick it up. It's a little late to be taking a bath, but it was possible she normally took baths right before going to bed. I'll wait 30 minutes, then try calling again. No, it's in the game. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over, again and again. Kept on calling her, but she didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes, yet she wasn't picking up. Were my phone calls so persistent that she had gotten scared of picking up the receiver? No, that couldn't possibly be it. There was no point in doing this any longer. The best thing to do would be go there in person. Where was Rika-chan's house now? Shit, I never even asked where she lived. Her residence was written on there in the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers, so I couldn't tell where she was just by reading it. Isn't there a map or something in here? Rika Furure. The last name was Furure. It's a bit of an odd last name, but it might be easy to find. Thinking that, I rummaged around the drawer with the phone book, and I could only find things with takeout menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Shit! I tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but didn't come up with any clues on where Rika-chan's house was. Calm down, Keiichi Marabata. If you don't know, then just ask. Ask someone who does know. Rena! I'm gonna call Rena! Oh, that's it! Rena's gotta know! I looked up Rena's phone number on the contact list. Rena Ryugu. There she was. Rena, wake up! I'm having a panic attack right now!
Hello? This is Ryugu.
Was the voice up? Shit! Hello, this is Ryugu. Must have been Rena's father. I'm calling in the middle of the night. I need to be polite. I'm sorry for calling so late at night. This is my Ibarra. Is there any chance that Rena-san is around? Reina is taking a bath. Oh, she's done? Reina! There's a friend of yours on the phone. Alright, Reina Ryugu is her real name, wasn't it? I'd gotten so used to calling her Rena that hearing her real name got me a little off guard.
Hello? This is Rena.
It's me, Keiichi. Sorry for calling you so late.
Huh? Keiichi-kun? What do you need at a time like this?
Well, actually, I wanted to know where Rika-chan's house is. Rena seemed a little appalled that I'd call her for something like that at this hour. However, she spoke her next words seriously if she had caught how urgent my need was.
Okay. Sure. You know the assembly hall on the grounds of the Furei Shrine? There's a 2-story shack used for storage behind it. That's where she lives.
I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew that she lived on the shrine grounds, I just had to take a look around. Got it. Thanks. Sorry again for calling so late. Apologies to your dad as well, would you?
Okay, but Keiichi-kun, why do you want to know where Rika-chan lives?
Rena asked in an unusually sharp way, halting me before I could hang up on the phone. I hesitated for a moment whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him.
Keiichi-kun, if you're still listening, could you answer me? Why are you asking where Rika-chan lives at a time like this?
Rena affected her usual tone, but beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she intuitively sensed something was going on. What will you do, Keiichi? If it's Rena, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out. I revealed everything, so he was killed.
Keiichi-kun! Rena's being serious! Please answer me!
Rena asked me once again in a tone so forceful I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Rena was Rika-chan's friend, too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika-chan's disappearing. If I told Rena then, even if only for a moment, I could drive away my horrifying fears. Rena, well, I can't exactly tell you why, but...
Yes?
Rena's tone was seriousness itself. Just from the tone, I could feel her saying, "No matter what you say, Keiichi-kun, I'll believe you." That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth. I have a feeling that Rika-chan is in danger.
You mean like a premonition? Or do you have some reason to believe she's in danger?
I really didn't have the time to go back and forth with Rena about this. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience. I don't have much reason, but yet I still hesitated. I had told Rika-chan that we had stuck into the ritual house. The mayor to whom Shion had confessed before that had already disappeared, so it was possible that Rika-chan also. I didn't know how to explain it to Rena. While I was tongue-tied, Rena spoke up.
Sorry for asking something so weird. I thought about it, and it really isn't like you to be sure. It's like you need to be sure.
Rena laughed a little, seeming a bit absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Rena continued in a cheerful yet purposeful voice.
You're worried about a friend. I don't think you need a reason to go and check on them. Even if Rika-chan was asleep and you ended up waking her up. If that was why you did it, then none of us would get mad.
Rena, thank you.
Okay then, Keiichi-kun, just one thing. You called Rika-chan's house, right? Then you couldn't get through, so that's why you asked me where her house is?
Yeah, that's right. I must have called her for over 10 minutes. She could just be sleeping and not have noticed.
Rika-chan's house is really small. She would have definitely heard the phone ringing, even if even if she was asleep. Sadako-chan is there too, so there's no way neither of them would notice.
Huh? Sadako? You mean she's living with Rika-chan?
Yeah. You didn't know? Well, we can talk about that later. Anyway, if you called that much and no one answered, then something's definitely wrong.
Rena understood that the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have ever imagined her to. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Rena had acknowledged this also meant that the best case scenario of it all being the result of my own needless fears went out the window.
I'll go to Rika-chan's house right now. Will you come with me? I can show you the way.
Sounds good. Let's meet up at the same place as usual. I'll be waiting for you.
No, wait! I'll come get you at your house. You just wait there. And tell your family you're coming with me to Rika-chan's house, okay?
Will that be okay? We might lose time if you come here.
Did you call Mi-chan too? She's really dependable at times like these. If you haven't, then I'll give her a call.
My thoughts froze for a moment. Shion had just told me to be careful around Mion during our phone conversation a little while ago. If the Sonozaki main house was somehow lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths... Is it a queen? Can you show us the way? Then the current heir to the family, Mion, wouldn't be uninvolved. So wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takano-san and Tomotake-san, also the mayor's disappearance?
Okay, bye. I'll be right over. Wait for me.
That's all Rena said before she hurriedly hung up. Now wasn't the time to be doubting Mion. I needed to make sure Rika-chan was safe. I hit the right key again! I got changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would be more smoothly if we met at the place we usually do before school, where Rena wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably object if I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. She said that Rika-chan and Sadako-chan lived together, right? Then it wasn't only Rika-chan. Sadako wasn't there either?! Realizing that them living together really meant causing my thoughts to immediately take a turn for the worse. That can't be. Sadako is... She's got nothing to do with any of this. Even if there was a reason for Rika-chan to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Sadako. Keiichi-kun! Rena was really fast. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of just how hurriedly she had been going. Hey, Rena, let's get going.
Keiichi-kun, I thought I told you to wait at your house.
Rena's expression was all business. Was she mad? It came out of the blue, and I faltered for a moment. Well, I just figured it'd be faster to meet you here.
Keiichi-kun, don't you get it?
Rena shouted, clearly angry. I'd never seen Rena like this before. Do I get... What's the problem? Rena seemed to notice she was scaring me, took a couple of deep breaths, and continued to admonish me, but her expression didn't soften at all.
Keiichi-kun, the whole village is in uproar right now that the elder disappeared, right?
Yeah.
Now you're telling me that Rika-chan and Sadako aren't where they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Then you need to be more careful. Do you have any idea how dangerous it could be standing out here alone in the middle of the night?
I began to understand where Rena's anger was coming from.
You told your family you'd be going to Rika-chan's house with me, didn't you? So that, in the worst-case scenario, if you or I were to disappear, people would know when and where we did.
Yeah, the only one who doesn't have a portrait is Keiichi, and that's because Keiichi doesn't get a portrait until the first answer arc. Rena was perfectly level-headed in this emergency situation. Ever since the night of Watanagashi, every night someone had died or disappeared.
Give me your hat, I want it! No! I'm not gonna give you my hat! It's my hat!
The night itself, Takano-san and Tomotake-san met strange ends. On the next night, the elder vanished. And on the next night after that, Rika-chan and Satoko are nowhere to be found. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself, but it wasn't enough to say that Hinamizawa was a little weird at the moment. It was, in fact, extremely strange. Rena had even anticipated our own disappearances and told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed at my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night. Sorry, I didn't tell them yet.
Okay, then let's go tell them together.
With Rena beside me, I wheeled back towards my house. It was the moon! The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. A sky that was uselessly vast and cold, so that no matter what, it would never seem to me like a dream, this cruel fact that was already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Rena had been unimaginably dependable. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Rena's caution me against carelessness, was to me the most fearsome thing of all. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. He met up with Mion on the way, and she, of course, was unsure whether to believe about Rika-chan and Satoko's disappearance. Kei-chan, are you serious? I'm going to get really mad if this is a joke. Mion was clearly displeased. If this were a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Rika-chan and Satoko disappeared. After all, that was just something you couldn't say, even in jest.
Mi-chan, if it really is a joke, don't get mad. Smile. It would be a joke, after all. We need to make sure whether it's a joke or not.
You're right. Sorry for getting upset. However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if we learned that our friends were safe, it would end up as nothing more than a funny story. Having been warned about that by Rena, Mion gave a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our 3 bicycles, lights flashed down the pitch black roads. They were something of the only illumination outside. Kei-chan, why did you suddenly decide to call and ask about Rika-chan's house at a time like this? Mion asked me the same thing I had trouble explaining to Rena. Would it be weird to call it a premonition? I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I had seen Mion smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood that she wasn't convinced, though, despite the darkness. Well, I had this bad dream while I was snoozing, and I couldn't get it out of my head.
So, did Rika-chan get kidnapped in the dream?
Well, it was more of a vague feeling sort of thing. If Rika-chan had answered the phone, I would have called you and Rena after that. Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth, makeshift though they were. I was lying because I thought telling them that I was connected to Shion would be like silently admitting we had stolen it to the ritual storehouse together that night. Mion didn't press me any further. I don't know whether that convinced her. Maybe she figured it was to make sure Rika-chan and Satoko were safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. I felt relieved and immediately a little guilty. Mion hadn't really been acting any different these last few days, but I still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It was only because of what I heard from Shion, Noshi-san, that she was a successor for some kind of super extravagant gang family. No, was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Keiichi Mayabara. Wasn't it Mion who was the first to ask about the night of Watanagashi? Such a harsh tone at that. Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? At the time, Mion looked like someone different from the Mion I knew. When I think about that Mion, then Shion and Oshi-san's description of Mion made a tiny bit of sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she reacted that day, then I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth was going on with her back then? I was conveniently thinking only of everything she had done after that. while disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking at the most, wasn't I? Mion was pedaling her bicycle in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me answers to any of my questions. We went all the way to the stone steps leading to the shrine grounds. Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there, so we parked them beside the staircase instead. So this is the Furei Shrine. Everybody comes and goes as they please. If it was a park, then this place is actually a grand estate owned by the Furei family. So the entire shrine is a private property. It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked exactly the same. And wouldn't that mean that the Furei family is really old, with a history going back for generations?
Yeah, they're gone. That's odd.
Rena said something totally disquieting, so I ran over to her. What's wrong, Rena?
Rika-chan and Sadako-chan always leave their bicycles here. See? They're gone.
I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bicycles aside the ones we had taken to get here. Couldn't they have parked them somewhere else? Could they have brought them up the stairs?
Those girls couldn't do that, Keiichi-kun.
Just as she said that, I couldn't imagine Rika-chan and Satoko lugging their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika-chan's door, but reality had already sparked some ideas that they weren't what you call good. Maybe they were just parked under some trees and we hadn't noticed them yet. I refused to believe that them not being able to find their bikes here was proof that they had disappeared. Let's go! The only way to be sure is to check their house. We all nodded and dashed up the stone steps. We passed through the red arch and came out onto the shrine grounds, which was covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Watanagashi festival had never happened. So where's the house they live in?
Over here! Come with me!
Then I took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, then looped behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small, prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse. The lights are off. Are they sleeping?
Let's knock.
Rena and Mion near the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I'd figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. It was far from what I had expected.
Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! Are you there?
Rena shouted out towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Mion banged on the shutter with both hands, and the loud sounds echoed into our surroundings. They would have noticed this much noise. They would have turned on the light of their room, flung open the windows, and yelled, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Mion stopped slamming her fist on the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. Silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face.
It's locked. I wonder if we can get into somehow.
Rena showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she would admit that they weren't there until we went inside and saw for ourselves. That refusal to give up gave me strength. The second-story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. Kei-chan, a ladder! Mion brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion held the ladder firmly in place for me. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed up one step at a time, tried to open each window on the second floor.
Mii-chan, I'm gonna go check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back!
Then I darted away. What, a main house? It's the Furei family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it had been left like that. All right. Rika-chan's parents, they passed away, huh? At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too? Satoko is also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oda Shiro-sama's curse. Then her older brother Satoshi-kun, he disappeared. Satoshi. I've heard that name before. I remembered. He was the one who disappeared last year because of the curse. Ever since then, Satoko and Rika-chan have been living in this shack. Neither of them have any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. Rena said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easy to live there? Curtains were drawn, so I couldn't get a good look inside, but 2 young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried that before. She said it was hard, though, because it reminded her of her parents. I had no idea. I felt really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school that I never even realized an atom of this. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan. They have it hard, huh? She's cursed. Huh? Suddenly Mion said something in a low voice that sounded like she was really cursing someone, but I didn't let it slide. I turned around on the ladder to face her and asked again, Mion, what did you just say? I said, she's cursed. Mion, still holding on the ladder, brought her head up to look at me in the eyes. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Mion's eyes clouded over, and with them boiled and bubbling a stew of chaos. They whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had at some point been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered at a dead-end street. But Mion, why are you making that face? I intended to follow that up with, you're going too far with this joke, and give her a forced smile. However, on such uneven footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan as I desperately struggled to not let nausea overwhelm me. Satoko Hojo. She's been cursed by Otoshiro-sama. Mion's answers, with a response of something I never asked, as if replying to someone else's question. The only people who fell from the park observatory platform were her parents. Only her parents, who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. Then she sent to living with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and the aunt who was killed on the night of the Watanagashi by some deviant, who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere, and her head had a entirely different shape by the end of it. Then Satoshi-kun, who always protected her, he suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear, even though he wasn't abusing her. The police judged him for having run away from home. But Satoshi-kun wasn't that kind of person who would do that. He was always earnest. He would never ask for someone else's help. He would always drag himself through everything with hard work alone. He worked so hard to get nearly ground his bones into dust, all for his one and only little sister, and yet someone made him disappear. She was the only one he lived for, and yet someone made him disappear. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was never rewarded. That Sakoshi-kun, how ungrateful that child is! She is cursed. All who get near her suffer the same fate. The curse kills them, or the curse makes them disappear. She cannot have any relief. She cannot have any relief. It's probably Satoko's fault that Rika-chan disappeared too. It has to be. Has to. Mion was mumbling words over and over that were no longer coherent. Her shoulders were trembling so hard that I could feel it through the ladder. I almost lost my footing, which made me realize how far away the ground really was. Calm down, Mion! I don't know what you're talking about! I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth. That rocking and trembling was becoming even more violent. Help me. The ladder, it's falling. Help me. Help! Just then I heard the sound of many people running towards us. Oh, hey! Over here! I very nearly said help me outright. 4 or 5 adults, led by Rena, ran over here with flashlights. Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan! Sorry it took so long. I borrowed the key. Oh, nice one! Seems all the windows and doors are perfectly sealed. I was getting worried. When I heard Mion talking like nothing had just happened, I again felt the chill run through me. The person currently holding the ladder in place was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion Sonozaki. Then, the person muttering to themselves. Just a few seconds ago, who was that? The person who was mumbling about terrible things like curses, who was that? I jumped down from the ladder as if running away before Mion turned into the person who wasn't Mion a second ago. The adults tried a few different keys at a key ring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first door. Rika-chan's house used to be a disaster shelter for the town council, so the key to the shelter is still kept on the mayor's house. It's Rika-chan and Satoko's private residence now, though. Well, this is on Rika-chan's property anyway, nobody complains about it. Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal now, but that only contracted all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang, bam, clatter, 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 bang. The shutter opened for the first time in a very long while. Then I located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! If you're here, say something! We climbed a narrow staircase. It had looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. Somehow the scent of the two of them filled the place. This was definitely where Rika-chan and Satoko lived. The first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. Just like a one-room apartment, past the kitchen and the living room take up about 150 square feet.
dressers, cupboards, and the like were packed into the space, and in the corner there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have been taken in from drying outside. In the center of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. The sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. Who the fuck is mowing their lawn at goddamn 6:30 in the afternoon? It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults climbed the stairs one at a time, began to fuss and talk amongst themselves. So, not here.
Yeah, they're not here. This is definitely weird.
The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance, and today even Rika-chan and Satoko had. Were they out playing somewhere together? That can't be. Their bicycles aren't here, though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it, but the mayor, Kimiyoshi, disappeared yesterday. We can't say that this is unrelated. The adult's face paled at Mion's declaration. Mine and Rena's did as well. Let's see, they could have gone nearby for some tea or something and accidentally fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might just not be able to wake them up at all, too. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Makino-san, please go around the houses near the stream. Keitaro-san, go look near the Ojia Lake. Okamura-san, you... Mion promptly gave the directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation despite her age. We'll remain here and call up anyone who we think is off on the phone. You can think of on the phone. Okay, everyone, you have your orders. Got it! The adults... let's see. Keiichi is 15. I believe Mion is 16 or 17. Rena's the same age as Keiichi, so she's 15. Satoko and Rika are I think what? 10, 12? They're both the same age. The adults all roared and repined and pounded down the stairs below.
Wow, Mi-chan! You're not only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa, too!
No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. This old man is using the phone. Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver, and got started. Rena gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for all of this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated, since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonosaki family's successor impression that Shion and Oshizan had given me. Well, I mean, to be fair, that's how their portraits were in the original, too. Now they just look nicer. Stop right there, Keiichi Marubara. None of that matters right now. That matters a lot right now! The most important thing is to make sure Rika-chan and Satoko are safe. Let's see, couldn't there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room? Still, though, I don't know what to look for anyway. If we tore the whole place apart and figured out it was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there's nothing strange about this room. There were no clues in sight. In the first place, I would have never been here before. There's no way for me to know where it was different if I didn't know how the room originally looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiichi Marubara. Stop thinking and start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. Rena, also unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was. Rena, I don't think you'll find Rika-chan by opening the refrigerator or the cabinets near the sink.
I just thought they might be hiding. Ha ha.
As you were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably people Mion had called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later, too. We'll need to explain the situation to Oshi. Mion began descending down the stairs, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There was already around 10 adults here, and all of them looked uneasy. Suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine that were here as well. They were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. This had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore.
Mion-chan, is it true that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan aren't anywhere to be found?
The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling them to calm down. Oh, you mean their boobs? Well, I mean, it's fair for Mion to be that size and be 16, 17.
So that's fine. Rena doesn't even have that big of boobs. First, let's check every house according to the town council's notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone's house and totally unaware that we're looking for them. That would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she's eaten a good full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case. I don't want to think about this, but it's also possible something bad has happened. Mion's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide up the work, too. We'll go around to all the places we went last night while looking for the mayor. We'll go looking around the damn construction site as best we can. You guys go searching around the school. Right! Let's get a move on! Come on, let's go! All of you were up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low on sleep, but please do your best. Got it! With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction that no one else had gone in. I was getting farther and farther from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. If someone were to be made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared. So nobody else would disappear tonight. It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at causing my own selfish sense of relief. Keiichi! For shame. Shame on you, Keiichi, shame! Suddenly my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. There was the hill where you could see the whole village. Looking down from this hill I could see lights on here and there. I knew the entire village had been woken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomotake-san, then the mayor, and now even Rika-chan and Satoko had been sacrificed, and word of it was spreading elsewhere. The strength of my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart, then I would have just be glad we did, and then they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakened by a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Is this all my fault? Couldn't endure the burden of my own sin. I just told Rika-chan about it. This had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko have been sacrificed. It's like a cross that Shion and I would each have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problem started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start, yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun! Are you okay? It was Rena. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back, like she was trying to make me feel better. It's all my fault. It's because of me. It's my fault. Keiichi-kun's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Rena was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoko-chan disappeared, didn't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because there was an emergency, Rena had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Rena would start to wonder about why. However, with the situation having gotten this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit that Rika-chan and Satoko had disappeared. But I couldn't let Rena disappear either. Keiichi-kun, if you stay out here in the wind, you'll catch a cold. Rena sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine. They told us the children should go back home to sleep. Rena showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been clawing around here for that long? If we don't sleep soon, we'll get in trouble for getting up for school tomorrow. Even the adults are really worn out, since they were up searching for the mayor last night, too. They were saying they'd break up a little earlier today.
I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time at this as they had searched for the mayor last night. There's something I, the cause of everything, had no right to considerize them for.
It's all right. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's a police car coming into the village right now.
Hearing that remark, I looked down into the village to see what was indeed more cars than one would expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of the emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All the incidents that occurred right after Watanagashi were seen as products of Oda-Shido-sama's curse, and would be handled with secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko, too. Their disappearance would end up exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappeared from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face, like a Western doll. Dolls would fade away. Satoko's smile, her energetic fang smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember, the less I was able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears at my own stupidity.
I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi-kun, but you should stop.
I wasn't about to deny it, I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted at least to keep Rena out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Please, Rena, would you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. I had said that to myself, self-deprecating, but I soon realized that Rena was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realized I had misspoken.
It's Keiichi-kun's fault? Why do you think that? Why?
That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Rena said those things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything was caused by my breaking taboo on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena would curse my existence. However, I can't allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Rena. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena could disappear tomorrow night. A gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, and at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Rena, might disappear. I didn't want that. Anything but that. This time, I need to bear my own cross, alone.
Keiichi-kun, I know that you always have your friends at your hearts. I can really understand feelings like you want to kick yourself. Rena knows, though, that it's not Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi-kun, and I know that.
You know that? Shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Rena to figure it out? This is bad. Now Rena will disappear, Rena will disappear, Rena will disappear! Then Rena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly.
Keiichi-kun, are you thinking that Rena might disappear now too? Because of Oda-Shido-sama's curse?
She put more force in the hand rubbing my head.
You don't need to worry about that. Rena isn't going anywhere. I promise.
Why? How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone had been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There's even less proof after that the sacrifice wouldn't be Rena. I don't care who you are. Just please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please, stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to. Like the mayor for Shion and Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mine. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first person who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And then after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Rena, please don't disappear. Please don't. As long as I'm still here, I can no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me.
Come on, Keiichi-kun. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking up some miso soup for us. It'll warm you up and calm you down.
Rena prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppress her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there,
with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite.
Kei-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues?
Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. None at all. School ended, and they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from the adults hurrying back from work from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night, too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I had spent the time hunched over in indecision all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh, no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okiyamiya, too. People are even saying we should go through all the Shinshibo City investigatings, whether there are any witnesses, for both girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly I was on the receiving end. I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry. I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anybody suspicious spying on you or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized. But it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh from his shoulders and looked relieved. Oh, my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you allowed me to have some. We heard that the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Oshi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Oshi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oshi-san the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well, now, miso soup leftovers have a bit much too salt for my taste. Confound it. Would you all like any? He recommended it to subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused.
So have the police gotten hold of any clues?
My smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush. In any case, it really has gotten late. All of you youngsters should go home and get some sleep. It'd be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah. Kei-chan, Nana, get some rest. These guys will get our tax money. They'll handle it from here for us. We're taxpayers too, you know. It's like we're drinking our own piss. I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Oshi-san was the only one laughing, like an idiot.
Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed the ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Rena, however, nodded.
Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone.
When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Rena's idea was extremely rational. Now it's decided. Let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night, Rena, Kei-chan.
Yeah,
Mia-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Rena showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oshi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down on the seat that would normally hurt my rear end. But at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first, let's start with the little Mrs. House. Where do you live?
Thank you. My house is, well...
But it's important to mention, I absolutely started tearing up when Keiichi-kun was talking about how it's his fault and like how he didn't want Rena to disappear. That scene even got me in the anime. No, actually it got me in the manga, because the manga actually had that scene. I don't remember if the anime did, like, to that extent, but like I actually started crying. Rena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. Hello? Maibara-san, are you asleep back there? Huh? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oshi-san was giving me light slaps on the cheek. I didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. I'm sorry, I just fell asleep. Something being held right up under my nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee. Yuck! It's lukewarm by now. But Cafe Alois is good even at room temperature. Oh. Thanks. I methodically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car had stopped and why I was drinking coffee. Oshi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had at some point moved to the back. Suddenly I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realized I had made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I'd be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oshi-san heard what he wanted, he wouldn't be letting me go. Please, don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything. Maibara-san. Oshi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh, no, nothing really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man! Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, Maibara-san. I don't need anything. Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing? There's only one side door on the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked up by Oshi-san. I couldn't get away. I could limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Oshi-san, despite my persistence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed indefinite. Here, I was sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Oshi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Oshi-san know? What did he know? And what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made me disappear, then if I told him, would Oshi-san disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how all this ended up happening. Oshi-san addressed me in a low tone, as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. You know Jiro Tomatake-san and Mio and Takano-san, right? I know you do, because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Tomazaki-san. Do you know how Tomatake-san and Takano are doing right now? They're actually well passed away. They met very untimely deaths. Oshi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. What's this? Did you already know? Fortunately for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes. Oh, so then did you also know the reason Tomatake-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building, the storehouse for the ritual implements, a forbidden shed sealing away Hina Mizawa's bloodstained past, where the mistake that started it all happened. Do you know about the rumors that say about the mayor and Rika Furue were cursed because of that too? That would mean it's mine and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did, what did they call it? A ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck. The lock on it had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for the thieves to get inside. What? That was news to me. Until last year, apparently had big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furude-san has been managing the place, right? Apparently, she talked to the mayor saying she wanted to replace it with a lighter, more simple padlock because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock certainly had been a simple one. It's a pretty cheap one, too. It didn't really fit my impression of what a lock on that place you'd store something like as important as ritual implements would look like. Rika-san is a small girl, after all. The bars were heavy with rust, and they must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock so she could open it with a key. So, how does that mean it was bad luck? Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and the key on their own. So thieves broke into it. Apparently that's how it's going down. That explanation's a bit... Letting that slide, certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves, who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-chan, who changed the lock. At least those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Maebara-san, what do you think? What do I think? I don't really know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the three families? Representatives of each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi festival opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came partway through the festival, so I don't really... The three families are the three oldest families in Hinamizawa. To give them actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago it said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the few families. The Kimiyoshi family, old man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. Sonozaki family was Mion's. So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then. After the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the dam conflict, they jumped up to the top of the hierarchy in Hinamizawa. You see, though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide the important village matters only after consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own address at the start of Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-chan. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there, so Rika-chan's family was just as old? Well, as you're aware, he has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family pretty much holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the villager elderlies have blind faith in her. It is certainly true that Rika-chan had a odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly. So what you're telling me about all these three family stuff for? Oshi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. I've explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Oshi gave me a dry, meaningful grin, blew out another puff of smoke. Members of the three families are disappearing one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old tradition inherent in Hinamizawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozaki family will disappear next. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. Just kidding, really. Remember the Sonozaki family? Who is it? The current leader is an old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights and leaderships have been transferred to her granddaughter, Mion-san. The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back to mind. Mion? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not! We can't allow that! Clamp. Oshi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands. Then help us, Maebara-san. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion Sonozaki lately, please tell me. Was going along with him? By the time I realized it was too late. Oshi-san brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. I ignored it at first, and then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat. Hello? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could easily escape through his opening. I see. Yes, alright. Let's head back then. Yes. Okay. Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I had been freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once. Looks like I need to get going. You're just getting to the good part, too. That's too bad. Oshi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around to the front of the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, Maebara-san. An admirable trait for a kid to have this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you're being betrayed them, even if you told the police anything. Maebara-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep and think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko? You know this already, but every night since Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year, but this time it's going on for days. What a prosperous year it's been. I don't think you can call that prosperous. The night before last night, and now today. There's no proof that something won't happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen. Before that, we need your cooperation, Maebara-san. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. Oh, he's a police officer! If he didn't know where you lived, that'd be a problem. I was too sleepy to care. Well, you're probably tired. It's already 3 in the morning. Please, get yourself a good sleep. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. And I was about to get out of the truck, as if delivering a parting blow, Oshi's-san said in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking, alright? I don't believe forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Oshi-san's truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Then walked over to the staircase. That was where I lost consciousness. Just face right into the floor. BAM! You okay there, Keiichi? You alive there, Keiichi? Oh yay, new tips! Empty-handed. Not eating any miso soup today. From the scrapbook, number 9. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand their influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryu Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryu Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled at the best in history. Having been so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends times at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter, Mion, but it's rumored it has to do with the disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. This uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no sign of the dignity required for the next leader. However, she does have the Sonozaki blood in her veins, and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Yes, the postal worker hasn't seen anything either. Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging on their mailbox so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. Silly careless of them. So when was she last seen? She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greeting. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that? Every Monday she goes to assembly hall to practice the Tashigoto, but she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while, though, so nobody thought it was strange. Tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're from the town hall and call about 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's home. 10 o'clock? Got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he's been keeping a careful eye on the 3 families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furuya family have disappeared. There's only one leader left. Oryu Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She's apparently a pretty old lady. Her dignity hasn't waned. She still only appears before people rarely, so it's difficult to confirm whether she was have any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of the Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well with the Sonozaki main house, or had she... According to Mion Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face, and her pulse. You can say that again. Two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Oshi-san, I got the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furuya shrine. Do you think we'll get them? Oshi-san didn't respond. They exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now as foggy as his mind. Scrapbook number 10! Scrapbook number 10! Oh, the hidden demon. The inhabitants of Hiramazawa believe that the blood in the demon flows in their body. As such, the character demon, Akuma, is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character Akuma in the names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki family. I swallowed some spit! Case in point, when you see in the current Sonozaki family leader, Onryu, is written with the character Oni. This, and only this, is proof that she is the legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. It's supposed to be Oni, because that's devil. The same way, the Mion Sonozaki's successor contains Oni in her name, with the Mi being written as... It also goes for Onryu's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It is known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as, even though it was changed afterwards to being still read as Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character of the Mayor Kichiro's name originally meant demon, which could also be read as ki. It should be said that the names using the characters Oni aren't limited only by the successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find the last name of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi is likely a split-up version if you only write the reverse and the top of the bottom as, then it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furuya family, if you've been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word fortune teller could be written without the interval characters. I think the addition of the demon's horn, the tick to the bottom top of the character, that became Fu, and that was used in the character now. I don't know enough Japanese to be able to read it. Shit! In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written as that, I can't find any reference of the character Oni. Perhaps because it's already ingrained in their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjecture of the words for slice, and the Sono, written as Sono, probably contains the hidden meaning of the human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by four sides. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. That's really fucked up. I'm sorry, I've been slacking on my Japanese studies, okay? I'm allowed to slack. I'm back! How did it go? Did you find any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's face. It was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of Watanagashi. Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap, and then switch them out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us, after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up, so we can take it easy as we go. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Did you tell them yourselves, Oshi-san? Oh my. You don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komi-yama-san left his seat. So, Chief, still no good on our request?
Just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know? It's not going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence. That some horrible thing is happening and we need to check the goddamn residence properly? Even when the evidence might be tucked away in there? We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. We need evidence for the evidence. It's like, goddamn fucking, you need job experience to get a job. But to get the job experience, you need the job. Chief, don't start speaking riddles on me now. We have witnesses to say 4 people, including 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual house without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete enough. Well, it's true that we don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with clocks tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased. What would that be, exactly? That's why I'm asking for a moment to go look in it in the first place. Anything pointing out the Sonozaki's family's connections to violent organizations would be a main contender, like a pile of Torevs or a secret poppy production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune must also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Oshi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furuya Shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard there's an hour-long call made by Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't be getting a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house, too. Especially considering the jurisdiction of both Sector 4 and the Prefecture Police Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me go talk with them directly? Shigeru-chan is head of the Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Yamaumi-san. They seem like they'd be quick to talk if I sat down with them on a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor! Yikes. Pushing the employee who was guiding him right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, giving his crestamono and hakama. Did he not have enough of this over the phone? I'm Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this instant. Hello? I am the division chief, Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted in a win. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Oshi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furuya Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Oshi is currently out on an investigation, and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out, so please, have a seat. Chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room. Listen here, the Furuya Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar, and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Otoshiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa from when the sun comes up and when it sets, and from the moon rises and when it falls. Who's the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation negligence as pretext? I can't. I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're going to get knocked off the hook that easily. Oof. Poor Chief. Okay, so I'm going to go for like another 30 minutes, and then I'm going to take a short break. So let me just save it here. We're on chapter 10. Last game had, what, 12 chapters? 11 chapters at most? So I'm going to go for another 30 minutes, do another quick save, let myself have some time to rest, get some water in my system, maybe eat something else. I'm kind of hungry still. I saw a ceiling I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon, like I was every morning. I looked at my clock, and despite having turned in so late, I woke at precisely the same moment I always did. I was so low on sleep, but I guess I really did get up at the same time every day. The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on, slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently, we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Satoko were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening.
So then, you were out last night with all your friends looking for them?
Until about 3, I think. Yeah.
Did you find them? Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, I mean.
Crunch. Nope. I really bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. Just then we heard the chime go ding-dong. Looked up at the clock and saw it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Rena. It was her at the door.
Good morning. Did you get any sleep, did you?
I think I slept for a few hours. You could probably count them on a chicken's toes, though. Rena seems pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit. Are you going to school?
Yeah, I think it should be... Are you going to school?
Yeah, I think it would be better that way. Oh no, it was the other way, shit!
Yeah, I think it would be better that way,
she said, smiling, albeit stiffly. Rena was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school.
If you stay home today, I think you'll just be worrying non-stop and sleeping. I don't want that. So let's go to school together.
Alright. Wait just a moment. I'll get ready. I was just a little bit happy about Rena mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us.
I guess Mi-chan couldn't wake up today, huh?
Oh, that's right. For her, it wasn't just yesterday. She was up all night looking for the mare the night before last, too. Waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged glances.
What do we do? Wait a little longer?
At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oshi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the three family were disappearing one after another. And next, it might be the Somozaki leader. Could Mion have? No, it couldn't be.
Let's go. Let's let her sleep in for today.
Then it gave me a pat on the back. Mion, she's still here, right?
Did you say something?
Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself. Let's get moving. The two of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. Even looked like some of them would be taken to school by car. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before. Good morning! Good morning! The principal was bowing to our classmate guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous. Maibara-kun, good morning! Ryuga-kun, good morning!
Good morning!
Your teacher has something important to say, so head straight to the classroom, alright? Rena and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at the night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. Good morning, everyone! The hushed conversation that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared with the illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning. First, the principal has something important to tell everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Principal. The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais. I'm sure some of you already know this. The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Satoko's empty desks. The principal briefly and simply declared that Riko and Satoko had gone missing. This was not a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept that as truth. It had been confirmed to them by now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either. Okay, everyone, pay attention. From today on, your parents or guardians will be taking you to school. For those of you whose parents can't do so, you'll be coming here in groups. I made a handout, so read it carefully and be sure to show it to your parents. Understand? The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from the unprecedented, abnormal situation. They should have just canceled school today. However, Rena told me that school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked, so some of them wouldn't want school to be canceled. Well then, let's begin our lesson. Class president? She's absent, I see. Then whoever is on day duty, let me hear it. All rise! That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives were messed up, was something I agreed with at this point. As for the teacher who always had her lunch in the staff room, she ate in the classroom today.
I had to laugh at a curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was nobody to laugh with me. Ran up on her table, her chair, and lunch over to my seat. Today it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah. I don't feel like sleeping anymore, though. In fact, I'm just jealous of people that could sleep at a time like this. They've got nerves of steel.
You're right.
I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after the coming to school and constantly feeling that incredible tension. Rena's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Rena was up for a long time last night, too. She wouldn't have time to make her lunch beforehand, since it's not like she would have had gotten up early this morning.
Grab anything you want. Go ahead. You can admit that my bento is better today. Okay, then I'll have some. Wow! Chikakuo roll. Varela and cheese? That's interesting.
Rena, yours might have ready-made food in it, but it's pretty good, too. I realized the two of us were just really trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom. It seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess.
Just the two of us sharing our lunches like this. It's sort of like something.
The laughter grew quieter. I was the first one to mess up. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore. Rika-chan, Satoko. I wonder where they went. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to adjust the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Rena catch her breath.
Yesterday, when you were gone, I heard a bunch of things. So I'll tell you what I know, okay?
Sorry again about last night. Go ahead.
At the time they had arrived for support, Rena was helping the Ladies' Society cook the miso soup we'd had. They reported all the information the villagers had gathered, and Rena said she overheard it. They didn't know anything important, though, did they?
Riko-chan and Satoko went home after school. They apparently went somewhere on their bikes, and other than that, Ian had told me yesterday. We had no clues.
Yeah. The police also said they probably went out on their bikes to go play somewhere as soon as they got home.
If they were going out to play somewhere, their bikes after home, then they would have gone out into town. So I'm guessing they concluded that they disappeared while in Okiyamiya. Police were saying how they were going to expand their search to Okiyamiya in the morning. In town. It makes sense why they couldn't find them, even though when they searched all of Hinamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that. It's just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. Then Rika-chan had told me to leave it to her. And, what did she say? Alright, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog, too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant. But it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying that this is a race against time. Damn it. Selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and cats. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she could go off and play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence of conviction based on it. It's just a hunch.
I don't think she'd go into town.
Think so too, Keiichi-kun?
I agree. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan must have disappeared in Hinamizawa.
Looked back at Rena, startled. Could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway.
I'm gonna go rinse this out.
She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly I got the feeling the next thing she would say would be hard to say aloud in class. I hurried to grab my bento box and followed her. Then I didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back, where students seldom went. The water flowed out onto our bento boxes. During that time, Rena didn't say a word. After making sure there was no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
The whole thing about Rika-chan and Satoko-chan going to town to play and then disappearing, that didn't make sense for some reason. So I decided to investigate a little bit myself.
Who did you ask? What'd you ask them about?
I asked the Ladies' Society all kinds of things.
There were a lot of tofu in the miso soup yesterday, remember? The old lady from the Tomita tofu shop came too.
The Tomita tofu shop. Oh, I remember. It was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub like Kristern always looked nice and refreshing.
The old lady said she remembers Sadako-chan stopping to buy tofu there on her way home from school.
Tofu? It's on the way home, right? How was that a clue?
Just listen. Do you remember when we went to Rika-chan's house?
Rena stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika's room.
There was a pot on her gas cooker, and there was miso soup in it. I think there was probably about half of it inside. The rest was in the refrigerator. They must have been planning to make chilled tofu. It was on a plate in plastic wrap.
As Rena explained, she walked around as if she was going through Rika-chan's room.
Still,
Rena, what does this matter?
Keiichi-kun, when you make Rika soup, you put the tofu in last. That means Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, whoever was cooking, was standing there making it up until right before dinner time.
Right up until dinner time? Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves?
The trash in the countertop bin was put in there really awkwardly, too. Rika-chan makes most of their food and lunches, but occasionally Satoko-chan does it too. So Satoko-chan was cooking that night.
So that means that Satoko at least didn't go somewhere to play. She was preparing dinner?
Yeah, then I took a look at the rice cooker and there was rice for two still in there.
So she made dinner for the both of them, but neither of them ate it. Is that it? Rena nodded.
So next I looked in the fridge. There was some chilled tofu made from the other half that they had brought. It's not all either. There were a whole bunch of plates with side dishes for dinner. All of them were in plastic wrap.
You usually plastic wrap things that you can have left over for the next day. My mom does it all the time, too, using them for breakfast or lunch.
That's right. You use plastic wrap to save leftovers for later. So the fact that they were in the fridge means that they didn't plan on eating them that night, at least.
Is that what it means?
Keiichi-kun, think a little harder. Their dinner was totally untouched and wrapped up. What do you think that means?
Well, that means they didn't need to eat dinner anymore, so that they would have gone out to eat or ordered some takeout?
It must have been really sudden, too. If they decided to do that beforehand, they wouldn't have made anything, but there was dinner for two for them. That means that when Satsuko-chan was making their dinner, they really thought they were going to eat it until right before they didn't.
So then, the theory about the two of them going out to play and disappearing is wrong.
Yep. They disappeared after making dinner and right before they ate it. Probably around 7 o'clock.
Where would they have gone at a time like that by themselves without eating?
That's obviously where this is leading. Keiichi-kun, do you remember? On their fold-out table, there were things like soy sauce and chopstick holder.
That might have been something like that. I didn't remember.
The container for the soy sauce, it was empty. There wasn't even a drop left. Chilled tofu wouldn't taste good without it. So I looked under their sink for the larger bottle of soy sauce they have.
You should know a lot about where they keep their stuff.
I've been to Rika-chan's house before and cooked for them before.
Rena cleared her throat, her face returned to a serious expression.
Then, when I opened the cabinet, the big bottle of soy sauce wasn't there at all.
It wasn't there? What does that mean?
Everything I'm going to say from here on is just Rena's idea, so please listen until the end without saying anything. Last night, Sadako was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan always watched TV until the food was ready. She was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Sadako pulled the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. So Rika-chan, who had been nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbor's house to borrow theirs.
I don't really know my neighbors that well. Would people be willing to give her soy sauce?
Yeah, it's not all that uncommon in Hinamizawa. So Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Sadako-chan waited though, Rika-chan didn't come home. So then Sadako-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. Then the other person must have replied with something like this. We have plenty of food here, so you should come too, Satoko-chan. Rika-chan has already eaten. I think that's how they called her. Out there. Sadako called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner they had made for them. She put it in the fridge so that she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. And then Sadako got on her bike too and headed for the house where Rika-chan was.
Okay, but this is already pretty strange. You don't normally make so much food that you can give it to people you suddenly arrive at your house. Veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people. Could it have been a coincidence that they made too much?
It's still unthinkable.
Rena flat out denied me.
Since Rika-chan knew that Satoko-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she had offered, she wouldn't let Satoko-chan's dinner go to waste.
This is all only circumstantial evidence and Rena's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple the situation bereft with sorrows. Then Rena, where did Rika go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It would have to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce. And somewhere Satoko wouldn't think it was suspicious that she'd be invited for dinner. So who was it? Rena slowly shook her head.
That's all for Rena's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police.
What is there to hide? Even if it's only half of what you say is right, it would be a clue for all this.
Keiichi-kun, this all means suspecting someone from Mizawa. We can't suspect anyone without a really good reason.
Saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Then I cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Let's think about this, in my own way. I had barely any information to go on, and yet she reasoned out that much. So there must be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Oshi-san said that last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. The trigger for everything was when the 4 of us trespassed the forbidden storehouse. Someone saw us going in there. For the culprits, breaking in was taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Toмотake-san and Takano-san were sacrificed. There were 2 left, Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next they went for Rika-chan, whom I confessed my sin. And what about Satoko? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I had told her everything was mortifying. But Satoko, who was sacrificed for no reason, wasn't that all that more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next? Why? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? Enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely, though, I didn't feel anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I never once had that impression. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and that I was just careless. It's another story, though. Let's just get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and I? I felt like there was the key to where this lay. Could it be... Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. The one thing I understood was that I was the concerned party in this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break, but someone else disappeared tonight. If nobody else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure, and then put an end to all of this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to my mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. "My Bada-kun, lunch break is over, go back to the classroom." At the principal's urgings, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. There were a lot of parents picking up their kids after school. It was just like a kindergarten. Students whose parents didn't come went home as groups. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers, silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left. and then another, and in the end it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's not safe to go alone.
It'll be just as dangerous for you to go home by yourself after bringing me back, Keiichi-kun. Still light out anyway. I'll be fine.
I see. Then be careful, okay?
Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman?
Rena pointing towards my house. Ah, it's fucking Oshi! Don't mind that, I just knocked something over. The car stopped in front of it. From out of that car came Oshi-san. He must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Oshi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin. Rena, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours.
But, what did the police want with you? With you?
Rena's a good person. When I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then. It would have been okay. Even so, she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I'm not the culprit.
I know that.
That said, I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with this incident. Rena simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Get going, then. Rena gave me a slight bow and tottered away, leaving me alone with Oshi-san, who walked over. And I'll take care of that in like 30 minutes after I take a break so I can drink some water, turn on my lights, and maybe I'll cook some rice, who knows. So I will return soon for the last part of this, of Watanagashi-hen. Goodbye.